We're a different kind of dentistry, one who believes in doing anything it takes to make dentistry work for your life. So we offer a complete exam and x-rays free to new patients without insurance every day. Plus, patients get 20% off their treatment plan. We're on your corner and in your corner every step of the way, because your anything is our everything. Aspen Dental, anything to make you smile. Book today at aspendental.com. Walk in or call 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL.
Good morning. Hi, how are you? Oh, hey, a little cutout. I still got a green U. I'm working on it. Good morning. Hi, happy Friday morning show. We're gathering in, you know, that kind of thing. How are you? Hello, everybody. There was an ad on my screen. That's weird. How there's weird music playing. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That's what it is. Yeah. One of these screens is playing an ad somewhere. Sorry. What in the world? Somebody was trying to sell me a barrel of something. Get out of here, you strange people. Yes. Let me see. It's probably the fact. There it is. I can see which one it is. Tab is playing something. What is this tab playing? This tab is playing music. No, go away. That was because that's what I get for reading a Fox News website following a link. It's an Aspen Dental ad. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's, I think yeah, so it's gone now. I was reading something beforehand, and it's one of those things where the website auto plays an ad, and I have so many, like, it's like HAL O'Clock News, right? I have so many tabs open because of the amount of reading I do in the morning that I didn't even see that it was there. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Lots of stuff obviously happening this fine morning, not the least of which is you're here. Thanks. Welcome. Get settled in. No rush. You'll hit that subscribe or thumbs up button when you get around to it. I'm not pushing you. I'm not here to do that. I'm not trying to trigger you like some kind of a bot. Not going to do it. Just going to ease into this. I chocolate cake. Quit it. It's scruff. I can't have some scruff. It takes me a while. What can I tell you? Had chocolate cake. It was shame on you. SPARKS. Aspen Dental is now subliminally made you want a root canal. Those bastards. Yeah, hit the like. Eventually, when you like something that I've done, and I think I'll be all right. I think we'll get there. There's a bunch of news coming out of Texas real quick. Let me show you something. This is pretty amazing, I must say. We'll get to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, closing arguments today. They're still doing it. They're supposed to get the whole thing to the jury by the weekend. So they've got short amount of time. Like yesterday, apparently the defense had like a list of experts, and they were supposed to get them up, do 45 minutes, get them down, get another person up, get them up, and get them down. That kind of stuff. And then they ended up using 4 hours on one of their guys like idiots. So it dragged it out and whatever. Lee Greenwood is pulling out of the NRA NRA concert. Listen to this. Now it's a concert. It's one of those ridiculous conventions that they have. Concert. Where they throw up a bunch of faux patriotism to hide behind so that nobody notices what scumbags they are. And you have to question the ability of, you have to question your patriotism if you question what their bullshit is up to. Meanwhile, let me see if I can find this. This aggravated me to no end. Hold on, let me go back to my main screen real quick. Ted Cruz thing. This was very telling. I thought this was incredibly telling over the last little bit. It kind of got hidden down in the... here it is. This one was pretty telling about all this stuff. Letter reveals that Ted Cruz demanded Biden lift sanctions on Russian ammunition manufacturers because hunters and sports shooters and gun ranges in the United States, apparently got all mad because they love that cheap ammo. And a lot of Ted Cruz's constituents love to use Russian ammo when they're going on their shooting sprees. On Friday, the Washington Post reported that Cruz and, of course, MTG and Gosar and all these pricks wrote to the Biden administration in September demanding an end to the embargo on Russian ammunition imports. This is before Russia invaded, by the way. The group, because they figured if they took it off now, they'd have a few months of it before it got thrown on because they knew what was coming, I think. The group sent a letter dated September 3rd to Anthony Blinken and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, accusing the administration of using the sanctions as a means to enact gun control measures and arguing that it would exacerbate a shortage of ammunition. Boo fucky who. Wholesalers, retailers, small businesses, gun owners, and shooting sportsmen rely on ammunition imported from Russia and are rightfully concerned that this is an attempt at gun control. Okay, rightfully concerned that this is an attempt at gun control. No. The ammunition they're talking about is like high-powered rifle and assault weapon, what I would call an anti-personnel weapon ammunition. It's not buckshot, for fuck's sake. Sanctions were first imposed in response to the 2020 poisoning of a Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, with a nerve agent, Novichok. He survived this attempt, but was imprisoned on dubious charges. He just tried to get his charges undone, by the way, in the last 3 weeks, and they denied it. 9 years. 2 weeks before the letter was sent, the lobbying arm of the NRA wrote about the sanctions, calling it an overreach and a crusade against law-abiding gun owners by the Biden administration. In the report, the letter mirrors the same points the NRA made in this article. The organization wrote that it is exploring all of its legislative, legal, and policy options to block the policy, which are none, by the way. That's just a fundraiser attempt. The other people, other Republicans, who signed it included Elise Starfonic, and MTG and Lauren Boebert, of course. Is there a difference, Lauren? I don't think so. I mean, I can't, you squint, I can't tell you two idiots apart when you talk. This comes despite the fact Cruz has publicly demanded the Biden administration sanction Russia more harshly. He spearheaded a legislative effort to sanction the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, which if it was full of bullets, he would have rallied to open the spigot on. It's just curious, isn't it? Which the administration held off on to maintain good relations with Germany. This became moot after Germany canceled the project itself. And all it took was some mass graves and some rape squads. Congratulations, Germany. Your standards are as high as always. Adorable, as we like to say. You know what I'm saying to you? Adorable. Meanwhile, everybody Lee Greenwood is dropping out of playing at the NRA. He was the last one to go as far as the music acts. They've all dipped out. And when you've lost Lee Greenwood, you've lost it. But I don't know if you know this, but Lee Greenwood, whether he wants to or not, will be playing the NRA concert this weekend. He will. Sorry. You know why? Because somebody's going to need his walk-on music. Defiant Trump brags about his upcoming NRA speech as cancellations mount. More than half a century, American Pie has been an integral part of American culture. But Don McLean, the 76-year-old singer who brought the nearly 9-minute song to life about the death of Buddy Holly and other rock and roll stars of life, has canceled his appearance. What the fuck is he doing at? And they were singing, bye, bye, Mr. America. Drove my shit. The day the music died, and you're going to perform that at an NRA thing even before this shit happened? What? Nice, Don. Nice work. It was okay before this particular it was okay after Buffalo, but before. Oh, yes, I'll be covering it. At the NRA's annual convention this weekend in Houston, out of respect for the families of the 21 slaughtered children, teachers in Uvalde. If he had respect for them, he wouldn't have performed at the NRA's thing to start with. Why don't you perform it what's wrong with state fairs and God, I don't know why that's. Also canceling were Lee Greenwood, Larry Gatlin, T. Graham Brown. Even the manufacturer of the AR-15 Style, by the way, Style, this is a different company. It was a different gun. It's not technically an AR-15. Same, for all working purposes, it's the same. Used by the Uvalde shooter was canceled. They canceled due to the horrifying tragedy. Daniel Defense. That can't be the guy's name. That's got to be the name of the company. Daniel Defense. That's not her, by the way. Maker of gun used in manufacturer of the firearm used in the Robb Elementary School shooting said it will not attend the NRA convention. Yep, Daniel Defense is not attending the NRA meeting due to the horrifying tragedy in Uvalde, where one of our products was criminally misused. We believe this week is not the appropriate time to be promoting our products in Texas at the NRA meeting. Well, good on you. A gunman fatally shot 19 children too. Okay. And again, the fact that it's like these fuckers vulture in every time there's a gun show or an NRA meeting, within days of these kind of things. They're we got to do some reverse engineering on these talking points right now because we're catching shit every which way. Thoughts and prayers. I'll get that. Both. You get thoughts and prayers. He used forget what the name of the in a statement on its website, the company called Tuesday's school shooting evil. They were bought legally from a federally authorized dealer in the area for Ramos's 18th birthday. On his birthday, not for. I bought them for my own, whatever. Greg Abbott's not, Beto's call out work. He's going to address it through a pre-recorded video, though. He just won't be there in person. Horrific and evil crime. The organization filed for bankruptcy last year. Yeah, so they're raising money everywhere. And hopefully, one of the upsides of everybody pulling out of this thing is that they're gonna lose money on this gig. And license for semis. Yeah. Amber Alert. I'm guessing that's going to be a joke about Amber Heard. Nope. Okay. There's an Amber Alert going off in the court during Amber Heard's closing. You can hear all the alerts going off while Rotten Bird is trying to figure out what's happening. An Amber Alert during her closing. I can't. So there was both. Account managed by missing kids. Amber Alert is okay. The irony of an Amber Alert going off during defense's closing argument. There seems to be an Amber Alert. If that is, that's so funny. Okay, it's just an inside, like everybody's flipping out because it's literally both. That's hilarious. Yeah, we've seen this one. Donbass region could be uninhabitable. President Zelensky warns. This has been an ongoing thing that they're just, this has been the goal of Russia, is to burn the Donbass to create a buffer area where nobody can move in, so that they can, they can take the Donetsk and Luhansk areas, and it'll keep, for years, it'll keep people from moving back into those areas, because moving between the areas will suck. Russian troops are trying to take control of the neighboring cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Yeah. 8,000 civilian casualties, 8,766 civilian casualties in Ukraine since February 24. Killed at least 4,000 civilians, wounded at least 4,735. 115 Russian National Guard soldiers sacked for refusing to fight in Ukraine. Yeah, they got, they're in court right now. 150 of them. Video of Russian heavy artillery in Ukraine. Yeah, this is their like mortar guns, their howitzers. He, let's see, addresses graduating students at Stanford. After Egypt's wheat imports were cut off from Russia and Ukraine in a desperate hunt for supplies, the world's biggest importer is straining to extract whatever it can from a local harvest in full flow. They're cutting and sifting, yeah. Iran to supply Russia with car parts, fuel turbines amid gas crisis in Ukraine. Great. I'm sure they're high-quality items. What more could you want? Video reportedly shows a Ukrainian Su-25 attack aircraft firing rockets at Russian positions. Jesus. And being fired upon. Those are, it's dropping stuff, but it's also, yeah, there you go. He turns, does countermeasures in case anybody draws towards him, and then drops bombs on the trenches. A soldier enjoying potato chips. What a bizarre world. I mean, there were pictures like this of soldiers eating chocolates and the like in World War I and World War II, both on the American, the German side, the British soldiers. Like, that stuff happens. I mean, there's nothing weird about it. I'm just amazed they made it to the line where they are without being crushed. They fire flares as soon as radar detects lock. That's right, Greg. 90th Tank Division, partner offensive. Okay, yeah, this is ongoing. They continue hitting these guys. Again, this Fox News thing about 115, the number I heard was 150. So I think it's just a matter of people verbally passing something on. 115 versus 150. Oh, it's one of these strikes where they're using a drone to target this thing, and they hit right there. They hit the Switchblade 600s are in there. They have the 400s as well. The 600s are like a grenade and can hover longer. Let's see. Our boys on the front line say they need thousands of these 600s to win this war in short order. Do it. What are the Switchblade suicide drones boost? What are the Switchblade suicide drones boosting Ukraine's arsenal? Oh, what are they? Okay, that just seems like a weird sentence. They're flying grenades that can hover for a while. A MiG-29 fighter of the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine shot down a Russian Su-35 in the sky over Kherson, which was hunting for Ukrainian aviation aircraft. Lincoln Kulubakal says they discussed more U.S. arms for Ukraine and efforts to resolve the global food security crisis caused by President Putin's invasion. Noting Kremlin continues to weaponize food and spread false claims about U.S. sanctions. They're going to lie about everything. Like, if you watch their news, it's, ooh, good Lord. Switchblade drone hits a Russian tank in Ukraine. The U.S. has provided more than 100. Way more than 100. That's this part right here. They're not going to do much against a tank, though, because they're basically like a grenade, like a hand grenade. I mean, there might be a way to, perfectly hit them or knock out their, their infrared or something like that. Because very few of the Russian tanks have that. Not a bag of popcorn, no. Mass shootings got their start in Texas. I mean, there's an argument that there was a mental institution, I want to say it was in the Northeast, a long time ago. And like borderline, like just like, I want to say a 6-shooter and then a Remington rifle, which was just like loaded. How can HAL, sitting in Cushing, broadcast anything? HAL needs to travel to Ukraine with one of the experienced organizations who are there now helping people. Well, thanks, Lise. I would, but it's about to become my son's summer break, and he will be home the entire time. And I have an 11-year-old that I raise. So, yeah. Yeah, the Russians are using tanks from 1960. They're these 50-year-old tanks. Russian strikes on military facility in the central Ukraine of Dnipro. That's over here. On early Friday, left nearly a dozen people dead and injured more than 30 others. They're just hitting all the. They're using their long-range missiles and stuff to strike anything that could be used to build stuff. Once Ukraine stays off Russia's attempt to recolonize it, the West must support full freedom for Russia's imperial subjects. Yeah, it's funny how the big, like, anti-colonizer crowd sort of just doesn't give a shit about Ukraine or Chechnya or Georgia, for that matter. It's weird. We made the Israeli-Palestinian, conflict comparisons yesterday, which I think are apt. A group of lawmakers in Russia's Far East have called on Putin to stop the war in Ukraine and withdraw all troops from the country. Young men are dying or becoming disabled, one said in the local parliament. They were ordered off the premises. Whoa. In a rare display of dissent, lawmakers in Russia's Far East urged Putin to stop the Ukraine war. Was branded a traitor, escorted out of a high-level meeting, and denied the right to vote, according to local media reports. Yep, that's going to be continuing. Video purported to show American volunteer soldiers attacking a Russian armored vehicle in Ukraine. They are Americans, but they are not American volunteer. They are not American soldiers. These are... And by the way, as long as Russia is using the Wagner Group, which I will not call the Wagner Group. Stop calling it the Wagner Group, media. It's the Wagner Group. It was literally named after Hitler's favorite composer. It's the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group sounds like Robert Wagner formed it. And I am too much of a fan of the Austin Powers movie to allow that to stand. It's the Wagner Group. They're mercenaries from fucking everywhere. And they're paid by Russia. These are Americans who are like, fuck this, I'm going to help. They're volunteers. That's a big difference. And there's volunteers from all over the world that are going in. They are not sent. They are going on their own because that's how freedom works. So tough shit, Russia. Yeah, Wagner, exactly. Is the border actually open? No, ours isn't and theirs isn't. Biden says that in addition to NATO, that Australia, Japan, and North Korea are supporting sanctions against Russia over Ukraine. Well, they're not. North Korea is not assisting in any way. I think he meant South Korea. But even in this sense, they're not participating. But Australia, Japan, and Korea are supporting us. And North Korea is not helping Russia. Russian forces close to encircling Severodonetsk. That's been true for a long time. Also, the Severodonetsk region, if you'll recognize Donetsk and Luhansk areas, these are areas that the Russians have already contained for a very long time and have been fighting on. So, yeah. The military only has one officer inside Ukraine stationed at the U.S. Embassy in Kiev. Yeah, because if that person, if we have a bunch of soldiers there and they get killed because they're at a bar or they're out and about or they're eating at a restaurant when it gets bombed, we've now got skin in the game in terms of military being killed on Ukrainian soil. So that's why we only have one dude there. And then the rest is Ukrainian. He's basically going to be directing Ukrainian security forces that will be giving us protection while we're there so that we can lower the target so that Russia can't find an easy way to escalate things. Russia's actions in Ukraine provide enough evidence to conclude that Moscow is inciting genocide and committing atrocities intended to destroy the Ukrainian people, according to the first independent report into allegations of genocide in that country. No, for fuck's sake. We looked at this dipshit yesterday. Yeah, somebody's pushing back against his bullshit. A partition imposed on Kiev will not end the fighting, but only ensure that it continues on terms more favorable to Russia. Exactly. Any pause in the fighting is just for Russia to regroup at this point. The Ukrainians are adding soldiers every day. They're adding materials every day. The Russians are losing materials and soldiers every day and are becoming, even Zelensky was saying they've demoralize the Russians in this. And if you pause it for a peace talk that the Russians are ultimately not going to honor, you're just going to, let them regroup so they can kill more of your people. It makes no sense. If we really want to confront the war and security, we need to eliminate the source of those threats, such as Lukashenko and the Kremlin's actions. If the West cares about food security, it has to work to unblock Ukrainian ports on the Black Sea. The rest is a lie. From Russia is what you mean. And yes, exactly. The only problem we have is putting our military ships in the area. What we could do is send a lot more merchant marine ships in the area to take out stuff and basically that have no military goods on them whatsoever, and protect them from the air through satellite imagery and the like, into Odessa and have all the food stuffs transported that way. And then they can go down the, let's see if I can bring up a map for you guys. Let's see if I can slide this over. You guys can see this in here. So here's Odessa. They do not control that. This is a little squinchy, the way this map is laid out. But right here, this is the port that gets you out of the Black Sea. This is the pathway that gets you out of the Black Sea. Right now, one of the reasons why Turkey has so much sway in this is because they're the ones in danger if Russia comes down through Georgia and decides, you know what, Turkey used to belong to us too. And they are, for all their bluster, worried about that. But the Odessa ports are where the wheat could get out of Ukraine. Now, there's going to be a lower yield because of the bombing and all that kind of stuff. But in the eastern part of Ukraine, everything is still pretty good. So the idea is that you bring these ships in, bring them up along this coast, so they're hugging the Bulgarian and Romanian coasts. They go up to Odessa, and they literally just follow the coast down. It'll be inefficient, less efficient than going straight through the sea, but it'll keep them out of the danger zone of the Russians in Sevastopol, who will try and view them as threatening or whatever, possibly bringing in military arms and shit that way, because they're empty ships coming in and they're taking stuff out. And the world needs to constantly say, like, we're bringing food out. You're starving people to death if you fire on these civilian ships. And does anybody find it interesting that, so when the Russian Moskva when it was blown up or blew itself up, it was being towed to Sochi, where the Olympics were a few years ago. Now this is a battle port for Russia to attack everybody around the Black Sea. And if you don't think that the seizing of the Sea of Azov and the seizing of Sevastopol isn't a staging area for both attacking Turkey by sea, because here's Istanbul, man. You can just, like, all the major cities that you want to control Turkey, all right on the water, right on the Black Sea. And then, same thing with Bulgaria and Romania. You own this, you can start, putting pressure on these guys. With the idea that Macedonia and Serbia have people who are sympathetic to Russia's cause and can squeeze them from the other side. So, but right now, one of the ways you could help with foodstuffs getting out of there is that these ships are, hug the coast, go up to Odessa, take food out, and come back. You have some worry about Russian, sabotage forces from the border of Moldova that they've taken over, just the border region. They made up a fake country there too. Possibly trying to attack this. I don't see that happening. I also don't see Russia, because of the state that they're in, wasting any munitions on civilian transport ships. Yeah. Anyways, so that's right. It has to work to unblock the Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea. Totally true. Yeah. Let's see. Last Ukrainian strongholds in the east totter under Russian onslaught. They're doing a strategic withdrawal in some of these areas to draw the Russians out, because they're up in the mountains because of the territory. So they're basically pulling back. So these people, we mentioned the drummer from Alan from yesterday. Guys, yeah. As a retired surgeon, the reason all surgeries have become so expensive is the cost of deliver surgical devices increased by 20% a year for the past decade. Well, the cost to deliver surgical services increased by 20% a year for the past decade. All right, I have scruff. Leave me alone. Hal's going for the Three Musketeers look. I don't know, maybe. That's not bad, right? Thanks, Jane. Everybody else giving me shit about it. Yes, Alan White, Carl. That's right. And Andy Fletcher and Ray Liotta all in one day. Got some nice... Oh, I did? Beg your pardon. I'm sorry if I missed them. Oh, good Lord. Templeton's a rat. Thank you. We're all here for each other. Thanks for being here for us every day, Hal. Oh, thank you, Templeton. Oh, my God. Bless you for that. And that's crazy. And Raphael, I just turned 50, so my birthday, I'm giving you this small bit of gratitude for keeping me educated, enlightened, and entertained for the last couple of years. Thank you, brother. Oh, Raphael, thank you guys so much. That's incredible, you guys. It's funny. I don't, I tend to just do the morning show kind of loosely unless it passes through. I don't, pay too much attention to it because I don't expect it, quite frankly. You're watching HAL Sparks Mornings, Mega Worldwide. Somebody just told me to reset, so I'm going to reset. Now, I do this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm at the gym at this hour. So, thanks, Georgianne. But love you guys for that. Also, George, thank you for the Venmo the other day. There was a very nice one along those lines a couple days ago, and I wanted to thank you for that. I think on the Wednesday morning show, HAL of Monte Cristo, right? Oh, I'm not going for the Rusty Rockets look. I will have to shave this off before too long. Anyways, I'm literally seeing how long I can go. I may have to shave it for something I'm doing next week. The problem with facial hair, just like long hair, is characters. Anytime you're doing some sort of character work, like my usual, like Ficus and other characters like that, even still, like if I'm shooting a sketch or something like that, it has to go or it looks too distinct for one thing. So it's scruffing a man bun. Never. It takes a good guy with a gun to stop an active shooter. That won't do it, though. There were a lot of alleged good guys with guns outside of the Texas cops were outside for an hour and they did nothing for a whole hour. I mean, they were evacuating that's not fair. They were evacuating other parts of the school, but they did nothing to enter the barricaded space or do anything to engage with the kid in the room for an hour. My friends in Ukraine said bombs are dropping close to his home now for 3 days now. Please pray for him. Absolutely. Wirelight, soft dev. They're going to do this. Rusty Rockets is younger and looks way older than HAL. Oh, wait, drugs. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, he's like a decade younger than me, right? At least. Man buns and a kilt. I'll agree with you on the kilt. I'm not so much sure how I feel about the man bun part of it. Watch Dr. Fell in 30 minutes campaigning. Oh. The good guy with a gun in the top supermarket got killed and couldn't get through the body armor. Right. Game of Thrones bun. Oh, you mean like a top knot? That's different. Man buns are just where guys do a ponytail and then they double wrap the ponytail up high. A top knot is the top half of your hair up like Gene Simmons style circa 1977. Ban body armor? That'll never happen because that's a defensive weapon. I mean, ultimately, the rest of us are all going to, I mean, there's an argument to be made that for all the thought that the NRA and gun manufacturers are trying to make money all the time, it's almost as if it's big body armor that's trying to get us all to have to wear bulletproof clothes every fucking where we go. The whole like Iran to supply Russia with car parts thing, fuel turbines as war in Ukraine. I mean, like, I don't know. How hard up you have to be to need car parts from Iran? We lost the city. Russian forces captured town in Ukraine with crucial feature. Rail yard. A town in Donbass representing a significant setback for the Ukrainian resistance. Nope, they fell back. That's the belief across everybody. I wish I had a more specific map. If I understood this correct, Russia will deploy some of its training battalions in Ukraine. When I was a conscript, we also had a training battalion with officers who trained us, but when in the field, we had a different set of officers who were the real combat leaders, which has been seen in study. Military district commands ordered to create a tank and motorized rifle reserve battalions on the base of each regiment brigade. Some of the employed older vehicles, for example, the BMP-1 infantry fighting vehicles. Effort does not include forced mobilization. We have seen military district level orders for intensive training of reserve units, which we are told largely consist of contract soldiers still not engaged in Ukraine. Yeah, they're running out of people. This is just stupid. All the Russian stuff is bluster and anger. Yeah, we're already doing that. We're we've already prepping to send. We're prepping them to be sent. We're not getting ready to send them. We're ready to send them. We're readying the systems to be transported. One of the reasons why us getting out of Afghanistan was so screwy. Thank you, Shadow Woman, for the super chats. And again, Templeton, thank you so much, and Raphael, that was so sweet. You guys, you're gonna make me tear up. That a lot of this, yeah, here you go. Having taken Lyme and the Russians' renewed attempts to advance in Sloviansk from Izium area in the north, as per both Russian and Ukrainian sources, they are reportedly trying to seize Bahardinich Dick knife? What? Okay. And the southern bank, here's you go. The southern bank of the Seversky Donetsk, that's the river down here. So this is the area that they're taking. There are areas up here. I mean, I think it's like that are, I don't know what it's hard to tell, like, from these maps, like the white is the high areas or the low areas. But the idea is that I think these are the low land areas, and the darker areas are the peaks, or the hilly areas. But what it does is it pulls them in. The idea was let them have Lyman, and then the Ukrainians would join around here and just basically pelt them in the way that they, basically it's a strategy at this point. Isn't Texas full of good guys with guns? So much for that solution. Yeah, it's weird that way. U.S. has deep debt. It's depressing. No, we don't. U.S. debt is completely manageable with our economy. Sorry, I don't want to bum anybody out, but we're not going to be fucked by debt. No, and oh god, I've been covering the Ron Johnson in Wyoming. I've been covering like how we are raising our interest rates a little bit and stabilizing our currency that way, even though we are not experiencing monetary inflation. I'm sick of that fucking talking point. It's garbage. It's supply shock. But worldwide, there's all kinds of factors going on. And a lot of other countries that usually align with us, when we raise our rates, would raise their rates along with it. But because it's supply shock, they're not doing it. And on a smaller scale, they can't help but do it. But so let's say you're buying a bond to find a place to put your money, especially if the stock market is going, haywire, being too risky, or other shit is happening, commodities markets are freaking out. You'll tend to buy bonds. Well, are you going to buy bonds from European countries or China where the interest rate is zero or in some cases below zero? Or are you going to buy it from the United States where it's 3% and you'll make 3%? Right, that's true, Kinky Streets. Inflation is subsiding as we know it because the supply shock is subsiding in our particular country, and in North America. It's supply shock, exactly. But if you're going to invest in bonds, if you're going to buy, debt from a country that's raising money, are you going to do it from a country that's paying no interest? Or are you going to do it to a country that's paying 3% over 10 years? What are you going to do? Are you going to loan money to Europe, who needs it? Or are you going to loan it to the United States, who needs it? Are you going to loan it to China, who needs it? Or are you going to loan it to the United States? The United States is paying you 3%. The European countries are paying you, 0.15%, and China's paying 0. You just 1-to-1. Give us your money. We'll sit on it for a while, and maybe you'll get it back. What do you think's going to happen? Yeah, 30-year U.S. bonds, totally true. Yep, those are the ones. That's where you're going to put it. The 5-10-year. There's a lot of wiggle in that because people are trying to figure out where to put their money. There's a lot of Chinese people who, like millionaires and billionaires, who've been hiding their money in the stock market and in the U.S. market, and the Chinese government is making them pull that money out. So that's affecting our stock market as well because of the timing on that. Yeah, bonds over 9% guaranteed for 6 months, right? And that's the short-term ones. Price gouging is a problem. We're not experiencing price gouging. What they've done is the people that loan petrochemical companies money for their sort of rolling line of credit that they use for both paying staff and R&D a lot of times as profits come in, like ebb and flow, especially when the market tanks and then comes back up and goes all over the place. Because it went to negative $36 a barrel, what the loaning companies that do these kind of things are looking at is 2014, where oil prices were at like $145 a barrel and then went to $31 a barrel just a few months later, because we don't have a supply problem ultimately when everything's running at full steam. And we're only 1 million barrels off a day from the previous like spike. The price is going to go down. Yeah, there's a 10K limit on that bond. Exactly. But they buy lots of them. Not price gouging. Have you paid for gas lately? It's not a price gouge. It's a refinery issue, Amos. The price is up because the refineries are not even back to 2018 capacity, and demand is twice what it was because everything's getting back all at once. We are not making enough. We shut down so many things during COVID that they have not restaffed and got up to the refining level that we were in 2018. We haven't gotten there yet. The price of things going up is not the same. It is not always inflation, because if it goes back down, that's not deflation. This is a supply shock. It's still an issue. It's still something we have to deal with, but you don't deal with it the way you deal with inflation. That's the point. If you solve for the wrong problem, you will screw it up. It seems like summertime gas prices go up. They do, absolutely, CMB, because more people drive and there's more demand for the product, and so they compensate for lower demand periods with higher, with higher prices. There's also, they have to have refineries running at a higher capacity to put out more gasoline and then transport it and refill it. Why is Donbass going to be uninhabitable? Because they're basically going to pilfer it with like depleted uranium rounds and mines and all kinds of horrible shit. And basically just, all the, unexploded munitions and phosphorus and shit that they don't care. Yes, demand goes up and there goes the price. It's called capitalism, what the market will bear. Exactly. And when it starts to go down, let's see. So that's why local Shell is charging 50 gallon more than the station across the street. That depends on, their refineries. If they were price fixing, they'd basically all be the same. If they were gouging, they would all gouge to the same. I'm sorry, but you sound like an Exxon consumer complaint guy rattling off their excuse. It's true though, Foggy. I'm telling you the truth. They're making up for some profits they lost when it was negative $30 a barrel for the oil, because not all profit is revenue, and some of that revenue is to pay staff, pay dividends, pay investors, pay back their bonds, pay back their insurance and their investment interest. And when they don't have that, they have to make it up some other time. They have to buy more debt to put that off, and that short-term debt costs more than the long-term debt, and they need it like, okay, we'll be fine in 2 years, so we'll buy a 2-year we'll get a 2-year or 3-year loan, and we got to pay it back in that time or it starts to go up. That's it. Summer blend had cost more to refine. It's more just volume. Different stations have their own fuel mix, and some additives cost more. That's true too, MJ. Yeah. It's a TYT talking point? Really? I think that's the other way around. I think that you mean the gouging story? Yes. That's what I get. Okay. Right. It's not, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not all revenue is profit. If somebody's gouging profits during a time when there's a shortage, then fuck them. That's no question. But a lot of what you're seeing is not that simple. It just isn't. If you'll recall, we just went through a pandemic. And no one went anywhere, and the price of oil went to negative $35 a barrel, which is completely insane. Imagine whatever product you sell for a living, you had to pay people $35 to let you go to work. And then they just shut down. They just lowered production, like everywhere. And then all those people who are laid off, it takes time for those people to come back to work after the fucking pandemic has ebbed. And a bunch of them fucking died because a lot of these like oil refinery workers, this might be a surprise to some of you, are pro-MAGA Republican types, especially in North America. They're those kind of people who avoided getting vaccinated, like meatpacking plants, and they fucking died. Except Russia and Iran did not lower production. True, but they have lower output, and the stuff they put out is harder to refine. It's not quite as, you know, there's variance. That's why they talk about sweet crude and Brent crude and all these kind of things. It's dirtier, and so it takes more refining. And a lot of the refining happens in other countries. They don't refine it, they just pump it out and send it out. But the refineries is where the jackup is right now. So, yeah. Do we have a Q in here? We have a Q troll on the morning show even? How the spokes of the wheels of economic in the USA is no different than the spokes that make it so we the people see legislation that we demand our leaders don't care. Yeah, they do. They're constantly reacting to some of this, Foggy. Just some stuff, I got news for you, is beyond governmental control. The government is not capable of a rain dance, for example. As much as our QAnon troll that might be in here wants us to believe that they do control with a DARPA weather machine. Trolls have been out in droves recently. I'm sorry about that. It's probably because I'm right about everything. Especially about there being no Hunter Biden laptop and all this bullshit, and I don't pull any punches about the Chinese government and Putin. So obviously, and we're starting to grow. Once we hit that 35 number, we got a little bit of a boost, I think. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way. We're trying to get our numbers up so that people have to take us seriously. I've still got an in-serious number of subscribers because I haven't been doing this forever. There's no shame in me not having the same amount of subscribers as networks and people who've been on YouTube nonstop for 10 fucking years. So I'm and the fact that mine are all organic. You're real people. Yeah, there are trolls on Facebook too. Yeah, lots of bots. Yes, the trolls are bored. It's also, we have to say, there's a lot of trolls in here that, you know, they have a hard time. They have a hard life, these trolls, you know. It's difficult for them. So they come here and it's not quite as bad because, A, we don't panic around trolls the way other chat rooms do. And we think they're hilarious. And they don't emotionally impact us the way other, you know, people like, oh, how dare you? How could you say such a thing? You know, there's not a lot of pearl clutching here. It happens on occasion, but it's, yeah, we pity the trolls here. You know what I mean? And sometimes this is where they come, you gotta punch the clock. You know, you gotta feed yourself if you're in a Macedonian troll farm paid by, you know, Russian assets, which are dwindling, you know. They're sending you secondhand Russian Toblerones, you know, fake Toblerones and unrefined oil as payment. How can you do the Texas press thing that they just had about the shootings? I lean away from that because I don't think it's directly mockable in that. I don't mind talking about the points in it and dealing with sort of the stories afterwards, but I'm not going to do it like I do the other clips because there's too many, because even though the people involved in that are inserious assholes in some cases, the people who are being affected are going through this and making light of it would be inappropriate in this time period. Toblerone, my fave for chocolate fondues. Well, that works, Stargal. I cannot. I can't eat a Toblerone. It's just weird. Breaking it in little triangles like some sort of weird. I'm just saying, Toblerone has to be the chocolate of the New World Order. Mm-hmm. You think it comes in tiny little triangles that you break off for a reason? Yeah, you don't think that's you think that's an accident? I will clearly talk about those kind of things when I'm on like those kind of press conferences and the like when I'm on other people's podcasts if people want to bring me on, but I'm not going to do it in the space of my show because the point is we're doing a different thing. Thanks, W. Sound off if you're a troll, just in the chat room. Let us know. If you go, I'm not a troll, that's how we know you're a troll. Well, then I am the Messiah. Sorry. Ron Johnson, of course, is the perfect Republican, ladies and gentlemen. He's he's been in office for a long time. He's from Wisconsin, a state that demographically barely earns having 2 senators. Population about the size of Chicago. Meanwhile, Illinois only gets 2. He spent the 4th of July in 2018 in Russia with Vladimir Putin in secret meetings with no takers present. Lovely. And he says liberal indoctrination has done this. Like, I don't know. The justification, I think it's just garbage. Like, please do not take anything this asshole says seriously and just, like directly respond to anybody you know who's in Wisconsin with, what the fuck are you guys thinking? You can't do better than that guy. I don't grind my teeth about the existence of people like that because I have no control over who Wisconsin elects. But every chance I get, I will remind anybody I know in Wisconsin that they can do better. And if they can't, they need to explain why. If you can't do better than Ron Johnson, the fuck is wrong with your state? Just a douchebag. And everybody's responding to that same clip, And yeah. Yeah, dude's got to go. And he's up for re-election. Yeah, that's going to be the recurring thing. These are Andrea and others are posting how much money these people have gotten from the NRA. Mitt Romney's is kind of amazing. And he, as much as he's gotten this money, he's the first person to say he's working on with Manchin and Sinema on getting through the universal background checks bill, and he's signed on to it effectively. He's reading it, but he's probably going to act on it because he's basically bled them dry. This is over the years. And the NRA doesn't have this kind of money anymore. So maybe there's, whether he sees them on the downslope and just knows that there's no money to be had, is blood from a stone anymore, or he's actually had a moment of conscience. I don't care. Because again, I don't vote for or against Mitt Romney. I don't live in his state. But if he turns and starts to shift the other way on the NRA because they've run out of money and they've outlived their usefulness, then and Tom Nelson's running against Ron Johnson, we'll give him a retweet. Why not? Senator Johnson leads bill to push back on WHO overreach. Holy shit! This is like, do these assholes do anything but like meme bills? We covered this WHO overreach nonsense. It's garbage. Leads bill. He wrote something on a fucking napkin based on something he saw in Glenn Beck. What a douchebag. And then he tries to go out he tries to escape by going in a locked door. Oops. Just got to get out of here. What's my office? There it is. You can't go in here. Ron Johnson's vote opposing Biden administration's new asylum rule fails. Yay. See? Ineffective, useless, and a prick. Yeah, and that's the weird thing too, is that he's the senator from Wisconsin, but he basically spends no time there. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so Ron Johnson, fix yourself, Wisconsin, Wyoming. This is because Liz Cheney's. She's gonna win, actually. Ugh. This is from when he went there last summer or whatever the fuck that was. We covered it. His stupid speech on the steps. The first time he'd ever been in Wyoming. I love the wonderful people of Wyoming. See you soon. Uh-huh. Congressional candidate Harriet Hagman will hold a rally with Trump on May 28th in Casper, Wyoming to unseat Liz Cheney. It's not going to happen. Sorry, but Wyoming's going to reelect her. Like, the Cheney name means a lot to them on the right-wing side. This lady's not going to win. And she didn't. The nice thing is they picked a good picture where she doesn't look crazy. Well done, everybody. Today we officially filed to run for Congress. I love Wyoming. It's in my DNA. We need a member of Congress who will fight for us. Together we got this. Why are you using fake old footage for new footage stuff? Big turnout. She's officially on the ballot. Uh-huh. When was this? 17 hours ago? All right. Betting odds look terrible for Liz. Every Republican I've talked to said they won't be voting for you. Liz Cheney reelected in Wyoming. No, 500. Yes, 300. That's their opinion on whether she will. Yeah, I don't care. Nice Tetons, Wyoming. Honestly, if I'm going to have if I'm going to run this show from a bunker at some point, it'll probably be in Wyoming. This beautiful country. It really is. Once they run like nationwide broadband through there, watch for Wyoming to be the next Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley. That's like your opinion, man. Yeah, there's only 800 people in Wyoming. And yet they need 2 senators. Isn't that adorable? A fire at a Wyoming abortion clinic that hasn't even opened yet is suspected to be arson. Gee, you think? Found in the new clinic previously worked for George Tiller, the abortion provider who was murdered. Lovely people. Half of the Americans who died with COVID since vaccines became available might have been saved by getting the shot. States with the most lives could have been saved: West Virginia, Wyoming, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. By the way, that's what the West Virginia deaths, that's why Manchin feels secure in his reelection and feels like he can do whatever the fuck he wants, because he's going to get reelected, because most of those people who died are Republicans. Same thing with Wyoming. Most of the people who are, who died aren't Liz Cheney Republicans. Cheney billboards in Wyoming or something. Hagman on Trump, the weakest, racist, and xenophobic. Ouch, that hurts. That'll work. I mean, it chipped away at Oz's lead. Hagman, Liz Cheney is a proven, courageous, constitutional conservative. Thanks, Harriet. Ouch. Son of a bitch. They're not messing around. Good Lord. I mean, that'll do it. I mean, if you're talking about the uninformed voters who are going to be reactionary, that's how you get them. Yeah, more about the abortion clinic. There you go. Top states by gun deaths: Mississippi, Louisiana, Wyoming, Missouri, Alabama, Alaska. Yep. And by the way, what was all that? What's that shit we all hear about? Democrat-run states, Democrat-runs, always the worst ones. Illinois with Chicago in it, not even charting. Nice work, Mississippi. By the way, these are, that's why they always talk about homicide rates, because then they don't have to factor in people doing themselves in all these other states, which points to how miserable the fucking states are. Robberies and murders around robberies happen where all the business is, where all the stuff is, where people are thriving, because a criminal will not rob somebody they also know to be broke. But states with the highest, most of the gun deaths are from people doing themselves in, and the states with the highest rates of gun deaths are weighted because of that, because of the miserable life in those places. Doesn't point very well like, this is America, wee. Wyoming with a minuscule population has extreme amount of gun death per capita, 59%. It's the guns, not the people. It's all, these are people doing themselves in. Again, that's what shifts that number. And you like the misery index in a lot of red states is off the fucking charts. Like blue states have anxiety. Red states have hardcore depression. Yikes. That's terrible. The crisis at our southern border is still the top issue my constituents in Wyoming talk to me about. Border security is national security. It's time we take this crisis seriously. Huh? Wyoming's the international border that Wyoming has is fucking Canada. The majority of the 9/11 hijackers came in through Canada. Jesus. Anyways, there's Wyoming for you. Investigators still grabbing information about Texas school shooting as families search for answers. There's a lot to be unpacked there. Ewan McGregor, obviously, this is because Obi-Wan Kenobi is starting as a series. Yeah. Together again at a Star Wars celebration. That's cute. I don't know why they've decided not to do the older version of him. I suppose he can do it. Maybe they'll go back and forth like a This Is Us kind of a situation. It's no use, Luke. If you'd have been here, you'd have been killed too, and the droids would now be in the hands of the Empire. Run, Luke, run! Harvard, okay. This is great things happen at Harvard. Primary standing ovation when discussing the new passed law to ban military-style semi-automatic and assault rifles. She gave the Harvard commencement address days after the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. She seems as good people. Honorary degree from Harvard, who let me create the Science Plus Cooking class with my mentor for despite never finishing high school. I'm thankful and supportive. I wouldn't mind at some point getting an honorary Harvard degree. I'm just saying. Just going to throw that out there. I feel like I've earned it on so many fronts. Is there write more often than anybody honorary degree? Professor of totally nailed it at the Harvard School for not being a dumbass. What is she? Oh, she's wearing a peacock thing. That's amazing. New poll, what? Majority of registered voters believe children should accept the pronoun of their biological sex. Because most will. And I don't know what. Hashtag Ben Chew. Johnny Depp. Who's Ben Chew? Okay. Ben Chew and Johnny Depp hugging after Ben's speech. Touching moment. That's I guess his lawyer, Ben Chew, I guess. You know, we should feel bad for the ACLU quote, whatever, because she didn't pay them the money she was supposed to give them. Whatever. Pass. And oh dear God, Sean in news. It's gonna be Hannity, isn't it? Don't be okay. Sean Marks, Sean somebody. It's just a lot of Sean's. Why was it in news though? During an interview, oh, I see. This is gonna be made a dubious analogy between gun reform and we did that shit. Like, we still got airplanes after 9/11. Like, okay, fuck, we locked up the cabins. You can't go to the bathroom when the pilot is taking a piss. You can't queue for the toilet. We all go through TSA at like uniform TSA screening everywhere at airports across the country, no matter how small, have to act to the same fucking standards. We got the fucking Patriot Act got passed. Like, flight schools have to notify the FAA if they have any strange students coming in learning how to fly without learning how to land. What a dipshit. Not sure there's a cleaner, prettier downtown than Vancouver, BC. It's pretty close. We like Sean. He's a good man. Most active shooter attacks in America end within 5 minutes. The attack on the Uvalde school children lasted an hour. Right? Yeah, they're talking about how long it took him to. He was barricaded in the room. I mean, more will come out about that. Ocasio-Cortez says GOP supports laws to let children be shot. Yeah. Yep. Well, I would go even worse than that. They don't support laws that let children be shot. They blockade laws that would stop it or severely cut it down to the absolute bare minimum in life. Because you can't legislate crazy out of existence, but you can sure as hell do everything you can to make the hoops they have to jump through almost impossible for anybody who's nuts. I mean, there effectively could be what is effectively a sanity test in the forms you fill out to buy a gun, where it doubles back and anybody who's sane goes, isn't that question the same as the one before? Yeah, they asked, if you can't notice that, then you're obviously not sane enough to buy a gun. Oh, that's cool. Right? You could put stuff into the background check, in the paperwork you put in, that's basically like a psych eval. Like, here's 6 questions, and they change on every form, so you can't memorize the answers, and make them impossible for anybody to what are they doing? Take a peek behind the scenes. The FX supervisor, Sean Faden, and the Marvel Studios Moon Knight, now streaming on Disney Plus. Okay. Yeah, it's not doing as well as the other series because I wasn't cast as Moon Knight. I'm sorry, Hollywood. I forgot to tell you that there's I live a charmed life, and if you don't cast me in the stuff that I want to be in, the product will fail. Sorry. If you cut me out of something too, that also happens. Don't say you haven't been warned. I mean, that's... I put my time in. I paid my karmic, my bill a long time ago, and I'm in the... I'm in the black in terms of my karmic impact on the earth. So if you don't hire me and you hire somebody else, it's not going to do well. Just saying. The U.S. has more guns than its peers. It also has more gun violence. Also, by the way, guns per 100 people, gun-related deaths per 100,000 people. Yeah. If you'll notice, like, a lot of these are, these are rifles and yada yada, and population density. There's a lot of reasons why this is, and this whole area right here and beyond it, up above 12. The reason they don't show you the rest of this chart is because it's the rest of the known world. Like, we have a lot, but we have a lot based on like European countries that don't have a Second Amendment. We don't have a lot compared to Russia or these other countries. And if you want to put us up against, like Chinese school stabbings, that'd be a hard press because of the volume of human beings per 100,000. Fine, but in sheer numbers, yeah. I was in The Nice Guys. I got cut. Sucks. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Roger. It's a great movie. I love that movie. Sorry to say that with you on the line, but it's true. Mm-hmm. Coming primo forward for Sean. Okay, I don't know, whatever. Rottenborn? He's fucking acting Christy and Sean Bet right now. He fucking singles Sean Bet out of the jury. Oh, okay, that's from the... Rottenborn is Amber Heard's... I thought it was Raffensperger for a second. I was like, you can tell how disconnected I am from that bullshit. San Diego 2012, Columbine 1990, woke, originated 2014. CR2 was not even a gleam in Sean Hannity's eye. Oh, okay, yeah, this is just the same bullshit. Like, I mean, don't even, like, honoring that with a response like it really fucking matters is part of the problem. Like, that, I mean, it's like blaming the fucking flat earth society for gun. She's like, get fucked. Like, I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response in that regard. There's a lot of Seans out there. A lot of Irish Sean Spetters out there. It's my island. I own it. All right. GOP guns over people. That seems like a reasonable trend. Hashtag GOP guns over people. It's not. This should be a very bad day for the NRA. We should try to make this shitty for the NRA. And tweeting about it won't be enough. Yeah, that's the other thing. You can't bring a gun to the NRA gathering, especially when Trump is there. Hashtag NRA convention. That's going to be this thing. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that's Betty Bowers. That's a joke bit. Okay, good. There you go. Well done, Angela. Well played. If you're attending the NRA convention, you're an asshole. Agreed. Houston 22 NRA. Isn't it like, look at this. 150 years strong. Uh-huh. Held a briefing with state agencies to make available every state resource to help victims' families. Yeah, so much for, cops charging in to stop it. Rules set in place that somebody who's, had a psych hold but wasn't involuntarily committed can still buy a fucking gun in Texas. What the shit is that? If you turn yourself in for a psych hold because you're thinking about harming yourself or others, no guns for 5 fucking years. That's not hard. You can even have them fucking sign something when they do it that goes, hey, you got to recognize you can't buy a gun for 5 years. That's okay. My dad's got a closet full of them. Oh, fuck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that that people could push the NRA on is, do you 2A or not, bro? Allow everybody to bring a gun into. There should be concealed carry and open carry at the NRA convention. Period. End of story. If not, you're a fucking hypocrite. I wouldn't go anywhere near the place because those fuckers are lunatics, and once it started to pop off, it would be insane. Oh, yeah, and there's Maria Butina, who's a hero in Russia right now, who was knocking boots with Republicans all over the place while they were trying to undermine Ukraine. Just saying. Nothing to worry about. Dude is still alive. That's amazing. Wait, Venn diagram. No, somebody put that outside the GRB Convention Center. Ouch. Well, you know, the thing with Ted Cruz is that asshole doesn't give a shit if kids freeze to death while he went to Texas. Do you think he cares if they get shot? Did I see the Matthew Cook video on history of guns? No, I have not seen it. You feel like Johnny Depp might lose? Nah, I don't think so. I think he might not get as much money as he's asked for, but I think he's going to win. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like anybody who's got young kids. Oh, this was the this is the company. That's the gun used. That's the gun this guy had. And the kid, look at the dude pointing at it, and there's like a full look. There's a that looks like there's a round. It might be an empty clip. It's hard to tell. There might be a round in there, or that might just tell you it's empty. Yeah, when the plunger comes up. So he's sitting with an empty gun. Luckily, I guess, for the photo shoot. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's a Bible verse, I think. Mm-hmm. Again, if you can't hit what you're shooting at in 6 shots or less, you shouldn't be shooting anywhere around the fucking public. Right. Yeah, this is the other thing. Like, nobody, you know, I think it's time to regulate that militia a little better, because it ain't well regulated right now. That's the push that's got to be had. I don't want every two-way argument that happens, people need to always put in the well-regulated militia part, because they leave it off. Every time the conversation comes up, people are like, it's with the Constitution. You have the right to bear arms, the right to bear arms. A well-regulated militia is the key, which means we know where every gun is, who owns them, and how much ammo they have. Regulate the fuck out of that militia. And if you want to have all that shit, that's cool, but you got to be ready to be called up in case China attacks, right? Yeah, why are you that unpatriotic? You don't want to let the government, your own representative government, your own democracy, know you've got all these weapons so that you can fight back? Right? Oh, thank you, Luke. By the way, you mentioned hard to find 80s comedy you love about a month ago. Do you remember the name? Better Off Dead, or Vibes, which I had to buy a second used DVD of from the 90s. It might have been that one. There's a few, obviously. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Sansi. Thanks for subscribing, guys. Thanks for the follows, and thanks for the subs. Don't forget to sub on Twitch if you're on here with any regularity. And again, still amazed that Templeton's a rat and Raphael. Bless you guys for that. Ban AR-15s to under 21s. It's so fucking pathetic that it even has to be hotly contested. Agreed. If you're not mature enough, if you're not in the military, you didn't join the military, and proven that you're mature enough to have a weapon by putting your life on the line for others, yeah. Oh, it's Vincent Price's birthday. All right. Camille Vasquez, GOP death cult. Camille Vasquez is the other attorney for Johnny Depp. Isaiah Rashad opened up about his sexuality in a new interview with Joe Budden. Okay. People discuss the word Latinx. Yeah, it's funny that Latino, by and large, the Latino community is the area where this phrase polls the worst. It's for all the talk about cultural appropriation and like the idea that there's a version of you can just degender a gendered language because we don't like it is so funny. It's the shouting in English to speak to a French person version of inclusiveness. Very weird. Yeah, it's terrible. And the other thing too is it basically says that women can't be anything but feminine, men can't be anything but masculine. So you have to create a secondary version, as if women don't have a broad spectrum they can live in, and men don't have a broad spectrum in it. One of the weird things about the sort of gender wars is the odd bigotry created around men and women, that they are so narrowly defined that you need another thing to define everyone else, which is just ridiculous. Like, you can still have your sex and be whatever expression you want. And saying you can't in many ways denies that flexibility and that ability to present yourself to people who are what effectively is referred to as cisgendered. It's weird. You don't have to create these things. You can be male and female and then just show male and female however you want. One of the biggest arguments about like the back and forth of gender that's kind of worked its way out is that it in its own way has become hyper confining, and you can tell by how many breakaways there are. There's so many now because everyone is trying to thinly slice their definition of themselves, that they're ultimately just saying that being a man or being a woman can't be that. And I don't think that's the case. I think that you want guy privileges. You don't want to be a guy. You just want guy privileges. Connie, you want to die 10 years earlier, have 90% of workplace deaths and injuries. You want to be drafted. You want, in the case of Ukraine, you want to be disallowed from leaving the country if you're 18 to 45, forced to fight. I'm kidding. I'm messing around with you. All right. Love you. Nice NASA shirt. Largely because it looks really cute on you. I'm just saying. Yeah, the trolls tend to bow out. Yeah, they tap out. Well, I wouldn't die in childbirth. Yeah, but that's something that men and women, especially in the United States, work very hard to remedy. I mean, the vast, a majority would die before they ever had a chance to procreate. I mean, it would be the counter to that, I suppose. Nap time for trolls, clearly. Dragon X Flyer says they're not a troll. Clearly something a troll would say. Let's see. Basically, these are overlapping rolling ones in here. Also, I get a lot of, I don't know why I get things chosen for me in my feed. It's very strange. Is it because I'm growing facial hair? No, The Boys, which is becoming very Watchmen. Because culturally, a lot of people dead end into, let's just look in trending. Sorry. A lot of the writers just dead end into the same. All stories kind of dovetail towards the expectation of the audience and what they've seen before. Most fuzzy faces like this, yeah. We noticed you through your camera that you're growing facial hair, so we're going to show you trends about people with facial hair. Great, thanks. No Winger videos? Why not? I'm upset. I'm going to see Top Gun tonight with Ethan, I think, late tonight. Anakin, because of that, the AR-15, vote them out, of course. GOP Death Club. Tank is trending in boxing. I don't care. Latinos in MLB trending, okay. I believe Johnny Depp. Depp heard. Trial reaches closing arguments. Great picture. Woman standing on dude. People reflect on the Memorial Day as the holiday weekend begins. I think that's wise. That's the Amber Alert going off as Amber's team is making closing arguments. Hilarious. There's COVID-19. Here's news in generals. Zell. Why is Zell trending? Every time I see, let's see, Prime's coming instead of giving your money to big corporate, you have to give it to a gay person directly. What? Zell and is greater than any other form of payment. I see. Every time I hear about Zell, I think of Harry Zell from LA Story, the fictitious agent that everybody wanted to sign with, that Steve Martin talks about, that was actually played by John Lithgow, but they ended up cutting it out. And the letter that Steve Martin wrote to John Lithgow about being cut out of letter to Lithgow, LA Story, is amazing. Yeah, let me see if I can, hold on, I'm going to see if I can hear this once I bring it up. This is Lithgow being interviewed in 2017. Let me see if I can bring this up.
Have you ever been...
Hold on. Lithgow got cut out of LA Story.
Totally cut out of a film?
Totally, yes. Once I was totally cut out, which would break your heart, except it was Steve Martin's film, LA Story. And I brought this to read to you, actually.
He wrote a letter explaining why he was cut out.
He wrote me the classiest letter to explain what had happened.
Oh, interesting.
And, you know, actors can perfectly well accept being cut from something. There are always reasons, but they're almost never told. That's the galling thing.
That's true.
And Steve...
Yes. I was cut out of Lost and Found, the David Spade movie. I would, you know, and there was really no reason given. I would find out years later it was because I was funnier than David Spade.
Steve knew that.
This was before TalkSoup.
So he wrote me a letter, and I'll read you the opening to it. Dear John, you have to imagine this in Steve's voice. Sometimes in the history of great film performances, like Dustin Hoffman, for example, in On the Waterfront, or Laurence Olivier in The Killing Fields. But wait, you say, Dustin Hoffman wasn't in On the Waterfront. Laurence Olivier wasn't in The Killing Fields. My point exactly. You know.
That's just part of the letter, but hilarious nonetheless. By the way, John Lithgow in, I mean, he's amazing in everything. He's hilariously funny. I love him in Buckaroo Banzai, Third Rock, all these things where he's funny, is so heartbreakingly beautiful in World According to Garp that it still affects me to this day. Am I covering the rally tomorrow? You bet. You know it. Okay. Uh-oh. Doge is trending. Did it take a shit? Tesla merch can be bought with Doge. Soon SpaceX merch too. Yeah. See, he's trying to boost Doge. We'll also be able to pay our Starlink subscriptions via Doge too. Yeah, he's trying to pump this shit. So SpaceX will start taking Dogecoin payments after cryptocurrency. Yeah, because he has a bunch of money in it and it all went away. So he's trying to drive it. Look at this. Look at this bullshit. I got to tell you guys, like, the fact that the same people and I know I'm on about this all the time, but the fact that the same people that bought into crypto are the ones that, oh, shit, make sure time's okay. Okay, I've got an 11:30 interview. And I lose track hanging out with you guys. The fact that the same people who were like, gold is real money, the dollar is bullshit, bruh. Thank you, Paula. The same people who were saying that all joined in on Bitcoin and Ethereum and fucking Doge and all these stupid coins. Like, man, I hope I buy the one that goes up. It's the dumbest. Ugh. And by the way, everybody who's in the crypto arena is just eating shit right now. Like, they are, like, Doge is on the move. Yeah, see what happens when fucking Elon boosts it so he can sell a bunch of it and then it'll take another shit tomorrow? Tesla merch can be bought with yeah. Because that's the, oh God. Use it every day. Use my Dogecoin to buy Gulf oil. These prices getting Dogecoin back in rewards and considering its potential for the future. Woo! Makes pumping gas a bit less painful. What? And by the way, that pays cash. You just make Doge fucking like a slice of a Dogecoin. It's fucking stupid. Yeah, he's just doing, this is another pump and dump scheme. At some point, the SEC has to step in. You missed all these back then, and right now you're missing all your money. Seems to me an 18-year-old buying that amount of ammo should perhaps trigger a red flag somewhere. I don't know, just spitballing here. I'm just a doge on the internet. Yeah, I would agree. I think the 1,600 rounds of ammo it is a bad sign. Even if it's just like, hey man, what you up to? Nothing. Okay, cool. We're just worried that something might happen to that, even if you mean well. Dogecoin Trillionaire the movie, 18 hours. Look at this. Fucking, yeah, it's a movie. It's fiction. He just jacked it up by saying that, and then it started to peter back down. And part of it went down because he fucking sold a bunch of it. Yeah, everybody thinks it's the new buy-in, so everybody's watching for the big dumb. Almost pumps Doge and it skyrockets 1 cent, now down 50% of that. Right. Yeah, it's fucking around. And the word merch is trending because of that. Yeah, like that's the big exchange. Fucking merch. He came to rescue people and was killed in cold blood. Director of Mariupolis 2, a film about the war in Ukraine, was killed by Russian soldiers before he had finished it. Hanna Bilabrova, his partner, tells Ed Poten the pain of bringing his film to cons without him. Yeah. Captured and murdered by Russian soldiers in Mariupol, where he and them were shooting a film about Mariupol. I mean, they were right in there. Fuck. Sorry to see Ray Liotta pass, too. Fuck. How inequality makes climate change worse. Climate change is worse than global inequality. Studies have shown a new peer-reviewed analysis from Salem State and UCL suggests inequality is also worsening climate change. The authors suggest that addressing inequality is an important part of addressing the climate change process. I mean, I understand where they're going with this, but one of the reasons why people live in areas where there was no water and no arable land for a long time is because developed nations were helping developing nations, and instead of them building up in areas where they had resources, they started sending those resources out into the countryside where they had no water and no resources. And I don't think they did it with malice. I think they did it in an attempt to help people instead of moving those people closer, and trying to develop an idea that they've moved closer where the resources are. And by doing that, the minute those things go away, the minute the world economy shrinks or resources become scarce again, those are the people hit first by it. It's one of those things where, like, that dude is drinking out of a plastic jug, and plastics are one of the biggest problems that are exacerbating the climate change process, but it's also the only thing making water transportable. It's such a Gordian knot, and everybody wants it to just be this simple, like, good guys, bad guys conversation. Why investors, customers, and workers are fed up with delivery apps. Since when? Lawrence already allowed gig economy companies like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart to balloon into household name stocks. Now that tides have turned against them, they're being forced to wage and likely lose extensive war in defense of their clearly unsustainable business models. Well, they jacked up because of the circumstance of everybody being home, and then it's gonna balance itself out because people can go out again. They were there in lieu of people going out. It was growing to the point of a tested, availability, like what normal part of the populace will like this. And then it got an artificial jack up because of COVID. And now it's leveling out somewhere in the middle. Fucking the panic attack these folks go through, like, oh my God, it fell by 25% in just a few weeks. Yeah, because people can go out to the store again. Japan begins reopening to tourists with COVID tests, chaperones. Oh, chaperones. Can America's Zoom towns save themselves from a crushing influx of remote workers? Oh, yeah, this is the whole idea that, like, Wyoming and other places are going to move in. Small town cities across the U.S. struggling to keep up. It's driving up the prices around them, in the South or the Mountain West that is swelled with an influx of remote working outsiders. Yeah, it's going to change their politics. It's going to turn these states purple, scaring the crap out of them. Rural gentrification. Get fucked. Why can't rotten houses stay rotten? Shut up. I lived out in those areas. Gentrification meant putting a shed in. The Labour Party, okay. Paul Bettany, oh, that's lovely. Is he making his way back? Are we going to see Vision and stuff? Oh, he's 54, or 51. Okay, aw. I think it was this one, then this one, then this one. Oh, I think he was... Oh, he was texting with Depp about this. Conversation text messages. Let us go down. You send a text to Mr. Bettany on the other. Let's burn Amber. Do you remember sending that? I do not remember sending it, but I remember the exchange. I have read it, yes. Let's carry on the exchange then. Yes, please. On the 6th, he said, Mr. Bettany then says, having thought it through, I don't think we should burn Amber. She's delightful company and easy on the eye. Plus, I'm not sure she's a witch. We would, of course, try the English course of action in these predicaments. We do a drowning test. Thoughts? I have a pool. Then you say, let's drown her before we burn her. I will fuck her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she's dead. And Mr. Bettany says, my thoughts entirely. Let's be certain before we pronounce her a witch. Like, they're obviously fucking around. Rottenberg brings up text to Paul Bettany, then says, these are the words he said to Amber Heard. No. If Johnny is such an angel, why isn't his dear friend Paul Bettany taking the stand to defend him? Why aren't any of his exes? Why did Lily Rose choose to stay out of it? Well, no, Kate Moss. A lot of his friends testified. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't even know he was part of this. I've been watching to know that he was part of this exchange. Was he in Fantastic Beasts or something? Were they... It's a weird picture. It looks like he's got a giant nostril holding his glasses up. Is that me? What is this? What's this picture? What's happening here? Somebody, it looked like somebody was trying to, like, fix the photograph, like remove something, and then they slipped and then didn't fix it. But it looks like he's just got a giant left nostril. He was in Transcendence. There you go. Think China and Russia will be closing their borders to keep citizenry in? China's already doing it, Lisa. Hold on, I'll show you. China. And Russia's done it with certain people. There you go. This is already happening. China cutting people's passports so they can't leave the country. This is from May 17th. This is recent. And then citizens from leaving. There's a yeah, here you go. Putin's secret police prevent 2 million from leaving Russia. This is what you do when you're winning and you're on the right side of history, don't you think? Oh, my light blinked. That was weird. I put a picture of Vladimir Putin up and my light dims. Darkness encompasses us all. So, they're fleeing communist China? Well, they're fleeing China because it's failing, not because it's communist. They were fine when it was communist before. Just saying. What's to become of the Ukrainians being moved to Russia? Right now, they're being used as slave labor or effectively hostages to some degree. A bunch of them, quite frankly, are Russians that Ukraine is pretending they're taking. You know, they're not Ukrainian born or whatever. They're the Russians that Russia put in, and they're basically moving them out during the battle so they can move them back in later. Mothers fled mainland China to get away from the communists in the 40s. Yeah, see, Shui, I mean, now, like back then, yes. Right now, they're fleeing because the economy is falling apart, and they're returning to sort of Maoist governing. Will they be freed at some point? Well, that's the thing, Shadow Woman, is the argument that not all of them are, some of them are clearly Ukrainian citizens that have been abducted. There's a good portion of them that are the Russians that Russia moved in when they took these areas, like in Crimea and other places, and they want those people to, retain that ground after they've fought for it again or whatever. So they just basically move them out, and then after the fighting, they'll put them back in. Really feeling the facial hair. Now, if I were Summer saying that, it might feel a different tone. Possibly. Some states have deposits on glass, aluminum, plastic bottles to make sure they are returned after recycling. That's true, Connie. The Ukrainians are in the salt mines. Yes, the real Ukrainians. They're the ones being forced to work. Yeah, like pieces on a chessboard. Putin is putting Ukrainians in re-education camps. Yeah, hold on. I wonder where he got that idea. And again, like this idea that like Russia and China are going to link up. Who gives a shit? Bye. I mean, that's like saying an anvil is really strong and powerful and important. And both of them want to cling to it while they're drowning. Yeah, China's getting more restrictive than ever. It's exfoliating simmer. That's how Hitler started. Yeah, precisely. Chinese language question. Is fuck your mother a common curse, or is it the wrong translation? It's more common in Korean. In sort of Chinese quarters, because of how they're raised and because of the Confucian stuff, their swears are a lot more. I mean, it does exist. It's more familiar and it's more regular to Cantonese because of Hong Kong and because their experience with the Brits than it is in like mainland China. These big U.S. cities lost the most residents during the pandemic. Let's see. Because people fled. Big U.S. cities lost more residents as COVID. Yes, because they had more residents. San Francisco and Chicago population totals are near 2010 levels. Big city population declines deep across. Yeah, because they moved to smaller towns to be away from people, and they've had no reason to move back, per se. Percentage change in population. San Antonio and Phoenix went up. San Diego went down. Houston, LA, Dallas. It's funny. What are they saying? Chicago. Okay, there's Chicago. San Jose ate shit. Georgetown, Leander, Texas. These are all positives. People just moved. Maricopa County in Arizona. Casa Grande, Fort Myers, Florida. People just moved to areas where there were just fewer people. Population fell 6.3% as a loss of 55,000 people. It in Chicago have lost so many people that their population has fallen close to 2010 levels. My latest one. Yeah, but that's not an impactful number. You're talking about like millions of people. 2010 levels would be like we had 7 million people. Now we have 6,990,000 or 6,900,945,000 people, right? And you wouldn't even notice in a city that big. Wow. A decade of city population growth and renewal has been undone in Chicago and San Francisco. The coming decade will not be kind to big cities with big problems. It has nothing to do with any of that shit. Overreaction. Rottenborn, Johnny Depp, and okay. Rottenborn is her attorney. Rottenborn, I just delivered the worst closing argument ever. I told you, Rottenborn only knows the word objection. Judge overrules him all the time. They're still at it. It's like a sign from God, an Amber Alert. Okay, that's the whole, yeah, they're just, like, everybody's just talking about this shit as it goes on. And pass. All right, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to bail out because I have an 11:30 interview that I got to go and do. So thank you guys for joining me for the morning show. We could just grind into this stuff all morning. This is Sparks Morning Show. Just Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we get together. It's a little looser, a little more loosey-goosey than the afternoon show. Still looking for a free copy of the 2,000 Mules because I don't want me or anybody associated with me to pay for it. But that said, we may, because of the NRA thing, we might have the Trump speech, although I doubt they'll carry it live. They would be fools to do that because I don't know how this asshole doesn't step on his own dick and giving the speech. Honestly. So thanks, Pam. Thank you guys so much. And again, thanks to Templeton and Raphael for the super chats this morning. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you, Foggy. Appreciate that as well. Audrey, oh my gosh, thank you for the super chat. Bless you. Did you mean to do both? I hope so. 420 God, thank you so much. A little bit for the tip jar. Thank you, Lillian. Appreciate that. And thank you, Sancy in Canada, for that as well. Thanks for the subscriptions, guys. Remember, share the show so people can find out about it. I talk a little more fully about some of these things than most people are comfortable with sometimes, because I just think there's more to the conversation. We have nothing to fear talking about all of it, because ultimately, I truly believe the majority of people are good and decent and are trying their best. And even the the people that most people decry as evil among us are misguided or stupid, and given half a chance, they would live up to a better standard. So and you can disagree with me, but that's how I'm going to live. And I appreciate you guys putting up with it, at least during my show. So take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I will see you guys later on this afternoon, where more than likely we'll be doing the NRA speech if we can find it somewhere. We'll see. We'll see. I agree, Foggy. It isn't. That was, yeah. Metaphorically. Be kind to TYT? No. They have not earned it. And because they're supposed to be on our side of the political spectrum, I can be harder on them than the other side. I don't expect blood from a stone, but I do expect juice from a melon. And if what's coming out is salt water, I'm going to complain. All right, that's it. All right, take care. I will see you guys later on. Thank you guys so much for being with me this morning. Like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, and I will see you later.